This video is an encouragement to those who may be experiencing identity theft. Identity theft has now become an industry. It victimizes many people. Many go through their whole lives never being impacted by this horror. Some have their worlds turned upside down. Be encouraged. There are numerous resources there to assist you on the federal and state level. I have included many videos from the Federal Trade Commission that touch on this topic that show you how it happens and how to get back. Please be encouraged to know that there is help. There is help to help you resolve this issue. The information in this video is not a substitute for legal advice or legal counsel. This video is solely comprised of readily available free resources on the internet and from federal and state agencies. You can get this information yourself. Just understand that if you're having any problems with identity theft, please contact the state and your federal resources to assist you to overcome that problem. Identity theft is so hard. It's hard to prove that you're not the person they claim you are. Please be encouraged. Use the federal resources on the Federal Trade Commission to help you resolve this issue. These are the topics we will be covering in this video. There are some interesting ones here, some that are kind of funny, some that are very, very serious. And the one I put this in about this IRS scammer calling the police, and Mickey Mouse has a driver's license. So be encouraged. I just cannot say that enough. I know this is very trying and very frustrating, but be encouraged. These videos and different topics will provide you some information to help you. Also in this video, you will find the discussion of social engineering, which is how people extract your confidential information by just talking. What is your identity? Identity is more than your name. It's your beliefs, your qualities, all the things that make you different from others. That's why identity theft is so hurtful. It's like having your home broken into, or a mugging is very much a very personal crime.
Somebody took it away from me in the blink of an eye. In less than a month, this woman destroyed what I had worked for 15 years.
I mean, your credit score is basically all you have.
I was mugged, they got my information.
It can really negatively affect your life.
Then they went off with the information and basically became me.
I feel this a loss of control, that someone's out there pretending to be you and doing things in your name that can come back to haunt you.
Somebody was using my name and all my personal data.
They'd done it all.
I just didn't even know where to start.
They had a long record.
It's a terrible feeling.
Identity theft. It happens when your personal information is stolen and used without your knowledge. It's a serious crime that can cost you time and money, ruin your credit, and destroy your good name.
When I was a victim of identity theft, my mail had been stolen.
I was shopping at a grocery store and someone took my wallet.
I think I made a purchase and they stole all my debit card information.
My briefcase had been tampered with, and when I looked in it, I saw that my passport and my driver's license, which I had in there, had been taken.
Identity theft happens when someone takes information about you and then uses it to commit fraud.
Identity theft is very serious.
We know that identity fraud in its various forms has affected 10 million people in any given year. And what that means in dollars is that it's a loss to businesses of about $50 billion. On top of that, victims of identity theft have spent $5 billion trying to undo this harm.
Everyone needs to be conscious that identity theft is real.
When you get news that your identity has been potentially stolen, it's sort of this open-ended problem that has occurred, and you don't know what's going to come of it.
No one's immune, which isn't to say that we're powerless. There's a lot we can do to deter, detect, and defend ourselves.
My identity was stolen when I was mugged. It is pretty traumatic, especially how it happened to me. They got my information and it happened. Then they went off with the information and basically became me when they went to charging items in stores.
Identity thieves can only take advantage of you if you give them information or if they obtain information about you. So what you want to do is take steps to make it less likely that your information falls into the wrong hands. There are many ways that you can do that. And the first is to stop and look in your wallet. What are you carrying around? And if you lose your wallet, are you giving somebody else an opportunity to commit identity theft? So avoid carrying around any identification that has your social security number on it in your wallet, because that can be used very easily and efficiently by identity thieves.
They could have your name, they could have your birth date, but if they don't have your social security number, they're not going to get very far. But all they really need is a social security number, and they can misspell your name and still get credit.
The only place that social security card number should be is in your head and protected somewhere at home where you keep your other valuables.
And if someone asks you to provide a social security number, ask them why they need it, how they're going to keep it, how they're going to safeguard it, because you don't want that number to fall into the wrong hands.
I had an incident that I thought was a valid reason to give out information until they asked for my social security number. I went as far as the first 3 digits. I thought, gee, they don't need that. And then I hung up.
This is a crime. You have to think when you're at home, protect your identity. Don't leave around your personal documents, your date of birth. Somebody could come into your home and have immediate access to that information.
You also have to be careful about your trash. Now, a lot of people routinely receive things in the mail, maybe bank statements, credit card statements, or health insurance forms, and if they don't need them, they just throw them away in the trash. They shouldn't do that. Everyone should invest in a shredder. So before they dispose of these critical documents, you shred them. Identity thieves, don't worry about getting their hands dirty. They will go through your trash to retrieve these documents. They go where the information is. They'll steal your mail, they will steal your trash, they'll steal your wallet, and that's how they get information about you.
Deter identity theft. Protect your social security number. Shred financial documents and paperwork with any personal information before you throw them out. Never give out personal information on the phone or internet unless you know who you are dealing with.
My name is Nicole M. Robinson. The woman who stole my identity, her name is Nicole A. Robinson. She stole my information from the pharmaceutical company that she works for. After this happened, it devastated my financial life. I ordered my credit reports, and I received a credit report in the mail that was 54 pages long. It had over 170 accounts, 140 of them were in collections. It had 42 different names and 65 different addresses on it. Not only was somebody else reaping the benefits of my good credit, I could no longer have access to my own good credit. And I cried. I cried every day for 3 months.
On top of the financial and the time that people spend in resolving these issues, it's an emotional burden on victims.
My life before the identity theft case was wonderful. In less than a month, this woman destroyed what I had worked for 15 years. She got my life.
If an identity thief uses, for example, your social security number and applies for new credit in your name, as opposed to raiding an existing account, there may be no way for you to know about it unless you've checked your credit report and you see that a new account that you didn't even know about has been opened in your name. That's why it's very important to monitor your credit report regularly.
Detect identity theft. Check your credit report at annualcreditreport.com. Federal law gives you the right to a free credit report every year from the 3 national consumer reporting companies. Review your financial accounts regularly. Look for charges you did not make.
When someone realizes that they're a victim of identity theft, it's like getting a kick in the gut. You know, you feel paralyzed for a moment, but it's really essential for victims to move quickly and deliberately in starting to resolve the problems that arise from identity theft.
I did what everybody knows to do, and that's call your credit card companies and cancel your credit cards. However, that's not enough. There was one major bit of information I did not have, and that was to call the 3 major credit bureaus. And I did not do that, and what happened was this person then went back. She was able to reopen the credit cards that I canceled. She was also able to open new credit cards in my name.
If you find you've become a victim of identity theft, the first thing you need to do is contact one of the 3 major credit reporting agencies and have them put a fraud alert on your file.
You got to take it seriously. You even suspect it, you got to put fraud alerts on. You got to take the steps to protect yourself, and you got to inform yourself about what to do so that when it does happen to you, you can do it quickly because time is critical.
You next want to contact each of the creditors or other institutions where your information has been misused. Then you follow up in writing and dispute these accounts and get a letter from them resolving these disputed fraudulent accounts.
The FTC has an affidavit, which in my case I used, to write out your explanation of what happened that you can then use to submit to creditors trying to collect on fraudulent accounts. When you're trying to tell them, look, my identity was stolen, it helps prove it to them.
You next want to contact your local police department, report the crime, and get a copy of the police report.
You should contact the police immediately because otherwise you have no proof that there was a crime.
It's very important that you report it to the police because there are certain agencies that you need or we recommend that you contact, and they're probably going to refer you back to the police department to see if you have a police report or not.
And finally, you need to contact the Federal Trade Commission online at ftc.gov/ID theft or call us toll-free at 877-ID theft to report this to us.
Defend against identity theft. Call the 3 credit reporting companies and place a fraud alert on your credit report. Then ask for the free credit report you're entitled to. Close any accounts that you suspect have been tampered with or opened fraudulently. Start by calling the security or fraud department of each company, follow up in writing, and include copies of supporting documents. File a police report. Contact the FTC. Your information also helps law enforcement officials across the country to track down and stop ID thieves.
Let's treat our personal information as we would our cash. Let's safeguard it, whether we're at home, whether it's in our purse or our wallet, or at our office.
Your personal information is cash, and in the wrong hands, it can destroy your life.
The FTC plays a central role in helping victims avoid and recover from identity theft. So we have developed substantial consumer education material that's available on our website at ftc.gov/ID theft.
Identity theft is serious, but even if your identity has been stolen and there has been, fraudulent accounts open to your name, you can defend yourself and get those resolved in your favor.
There are times when you just do not want to finish and you just want to say, forget it, I can't do this anymore. But you have to find that way inside of you to just keep going because this is something that if you don't clear, it definitely affects the rest of your life.
What I want is for us to create a culture of security for our personal information so that this crime in the future will be diminished greatly.
Lynn didn't worry about identity theft. She always said, who'd want to steal my identity? Lynn never had a credit card or borrowed money. She figured thieves wouldn't mess with someone who had no credit history. One day, Lynn decided to apply for a credit card. She sent in her application, but the company turned her down. Lynn wanted to know what happened. Why didn't she get the credit card? She got a free copy of her credit report to find out. There, Lynn discovered that someone had opened 8 credit cards in her name. They even got a car loan. And whoever used her name wasn't paying any of the bills. The credit report said all the accounts were overdue. Lynn tried to fix these mistakes, but she found out that it's not easy to prove that you did not do something. Those businesses held Lynn responsible for the bills, at least until she proved that the bills belonged to an identity thief. It took a long time, but she fixed the problem. Now Lynn checks her credit report every year to look for signs of identity theft.
Identity theft happens. It's an unfortunate fact of modern life. But there are certain steps you can take to help keep your personal information from falling into the wrong hands. Every day you do things to protect what's most important to you. And you know what? You do them almost automatically. Routine things like looking both ways before you cross, brushing your teeth, and buckling your seatbelt. Another routine to get into is keeping tabs on your identity and personal information. Here are 5 easy ways you can do it. Read your credit card and bank statements carefully and often. Know your payment due dates. If a bill doesn't show up when you expect it, look into it. Read the statements from your health insurance plan. Make sure the claims paid match the care you got. Shred any documents with personal and financial information. Review each of your 3 credit reports at least once a year. It's easy and it's free. And before you know it, protecting your personal information can be as routine as locking your doors at night. For more tips and tools on dealing with identity theft, visit ftc.gov/ID theft. That's ftc.gov/ID theft.
Every day, you take advantage of all kinds of services: mobile, social media, free internet search, and more. When you use these services, you're sharing information about yourself with friends, with businesses, while you're out and about, while you're at home. That information is shared and sold within businesses, with their affiliates, with ad networks. So on a typical day, you might shop at a store and use a loyalty card to take advantage of a sale. And your shopping habits may be shared or sold. You might need to fill a prescription, and your prescription history may be shared or sold. You might use a daily coupon app to get a deal at a nearby restaurant, and your location information may be shared or sold. You might visit a news site where you notice an ad for your favorite brand of shoes. It's an online sale, this weekend only, so you buy a pair. And the articles you read and your shoe preferences may be shared or sold. You might log into a social network and see that your friends are filling out an All About Me quiz. You get the quiz app and share your answers, and your quiz responses and profile information may be shared or sold. A regular day. You've taken care of business, used some free services, gotten some good deals, and revealed all kinds of information about yourself. So at the end of the day, the question is, who has your information, and where is it going next?
What to do if you are a victim of identity theft? If your identity's been stolen, the FTC is the right place to learn how to set things straight. Here are 3 steps to take. First, call one of the nationwide credit reporting companies. Ask them to put a fraud alert on your credit report. This means businesses must confirm that you are you before they extend credit in your name. The alert is a roadblock in the path of an identity thief, and it's just one phone call away. Second, order free copies of your credit report from each of the nationwide credit reporting companies. Third, complete the complaint form at ftc.gov/complaint. This creates an identity theft affidavit, which helps you file a police report. Keep records of your calls and copies of your documents. You'll use them later on. For more tips and tools on dealing with identity theft, visit ftc.gov/ID theft. That's ftc.gov/ID theft.
Fraud is a terrible thing. As we have seen, ID theft is horrific. But the worst kind is when you find that your identity has been stolen and someone has received your tax refund. The next slides will talk about the laws and things that were put in place and the changes made with IRS, federal and state agencies to reduce, combat, and eradicate, hopefully, this terrible thing. In 2016, the IRS put in some new safeguards and they put in some new processes that would help to detect the bad returns. So their goal, as it says on this slide, is to identify the validity of the return before it was processed. Continuing on the changes, here we start with item number 1. The IRS and the state tax industry will be sharing and analyzing data, so they're more working in conjunction together. And also, they've added multiple safeguards in tax preparation when you're doing the taxes yourself. As an individual tax preparer, they've added a lot of safeguards behind the scenes. This particular item number 3 is very good, and they have put in some major changes that may seem to be minor inconveniences, like passwords and other requirements, especially on your software you use to prepare your tax return. So the company may be asking for a little bit more identification and verification that the account on their system actually is yours. Additionally, they have added some new approaches. Some states are actually asking for more information for your authentication. Some states may ask for your driver's license number. That happened to me last year. I had to provide the company I used to prepare my taxes with a little more information to authenticate that it was me, and especially the one when I was doing the one for the state. If last year you were unfortunate enough to have your tax return fraudulently stolen, they will allow you to call them. There's an 800 number on this slide that I found. So you want to be sure that you look into it this year before tax season next year. I would strongly recommend verifying with the IRS that everything with your ID information and what some additional requirements may be so you can be prepared. Because of the tax return fraud, a lot of people opted for the identity protection pin. Be mindful, as it says on this slide, that if you did that, like say for instance in 2016, you're going to have to use that this year when you file your returns. If you don't have it on your return, it will slow up or disable your income tax return from being processed. So keep that in mind. And then once you have one, from what I read in the IRS information, you will have to continue to use that with your tax returns. I checked some sites on the internet that talked about the monies lost because of the fraudulent returns. In 2011, I found one that said it was about $5.2 billion that was paid out. Well, there's been a big change. 2016, they said it was about 1 billion fraudulent returns stopped, and they stopped the payout of $6.8 billion in fraudulent refunds. That goes to show you the magnitude and why in 2011 this was called an epidemic. This would be so funny if it wasn't so wrong. This is the slide I was telling you about where the criminal who was not too bright decided to call an actual policeman with an IRS scam.
Fraudsters attempt to scam vulnerable Americans every day. The FBI has received numerous reports about Internal Revenue Service telephone scams. If this weren't such a serious problem, the following would be an amusing exchange. The following is a real recording of an attempted scam where an Orange County District Attorney investigator received a scam on his personal cell phone.
IRS is filing a lawsuit against you. To get more information about this case file, please call immediately on our department number 509-790-0354. I repeat, 509-790-0354. Thank you.
Yeah? Is that all you got?
No, I got a long one, okay? I can just penetrate you from the phone itself.
You have like a really thick accent. I'm guessing you're either Vietnamese or Filipino?
I ain't no Filipino. I'm not Vietnamese.
Sounds more Filipino accent to me. Tagalog, maybe.
How old are you?
Old enough to know.
Old enough to know? You sound like a young lad to me.
Wow, you're actually not very good at what you do then.
No, I'm pretty good in what I do. You're a young lad, okay? Because old guys, they don't have time for this bullshit.
Well, it actually ties up your lines for a few minutes to where you can't call the possible victims, but actually you are calling the police. That's the part that's hilarious.
No. Not possible. You're a liar, too?
No.
Oh, my God. You're a liar.
So do you have a script that they give you? And then you basically go down a decision matrix?
No, nothing like that.
Nothing like that? How do you guys rip off the people from their money?
It's easy to rip off people. Americans are stupid. You don't know the script to, make Americans fool or cheat them.
Yeah?
Americans are fools. Vegetables, if you call them.
You call them vegetables?
Absolutely.
Usually the good cons call them whales or pigeons. You guys are using vegetables now? Is that the term?
Yes. No, not whale, no pigeon. They always been a vegetable. You know that?
So how'd you learn how to do this?
Priya.
What?
There's nothing to learn, okay?
There's nothing to learn.
You just talk to the Americans and you make out how stupid they are.
And so you figured out an IRS scam and you think that works?
It does work. We pick up old people. We pick up non-Americans. We pick up immigrants.
Yeah.
We pick up some of the dumb girls. We really hunt girls well, okay? Young girls, they are dumb.
But they don't have a lot of money, though. Why would you go for a mark that's got not a lot of money? Why would you go for a mark, a victim that doesn't have a lot of money? That doesn't seem very bright. Seems like a waste of resources.
No, it's not like that. See, a victim is a victim. No matter they have $1,000 or $1, they're still a victim. You're a busy man?
Yes, I am.
What busy man calls a dumb person like me?
The police. That's what I'm trying to tell you. I'm actually getting paid to do this right now. That's the funniest part. I'm actually recording everything you say, and you're actually calling the police. That is the hilarious part of this.
No, what? You know what's hilarious? You calling yourself police. That's hilarious.
I know, it is, isn't it?
This fraudster is sitting in a foreign country using scam tactics and preying upon some of the most vulnerable victims, the elderly, young women, and other trusting Americans. Here are some of the tips you can use to protect yourself. If you receive a phone call from someone claiming to be from the IRS, but you suspect they are not an employee, 1. Record the employee's name, badge, and caller ID if available. 2. Call 1-800-366-4484. That's 1-800-366-4484 to determine if the caller is an IRS employee with a legitimate need to contact you. If you receive a call from someone who you believe is trying to defraud you, please report the incident by sending an email to the IRS at phishing@irs.gov. That's phishing@irs.gov with the subject line IRS phone scam.
I added this funny slide because it's an actual driver's license that was confiscated in Washington. And it was interesting that it looks very much like the real thing. It's the plastic. It looks tattered. It looks like it's been used. And Mickey is actually a donor, heart donor. So the identity theft is very, very real. It has a comical side to it, but it has a very serious frightening side, as we saw from the video when the gentleman was talking to the fraudster who had stole someone's information and calling them to set up some kind of IRS payback scam or something. So this thing is very serious for our community at large.
Many hotels, coffee shops, airports, and other places offer free Wi-Fi hotspots. They're convenient. Unfortunately, they often aren't secure. That could make it easy for someone else to access your online accounts or steal your personal information. So, what can you do to reduce your risk? Encryption is the key to keeping your information secure online. When information is encrypted, it's scrambled into a code so others can't get it. How can you be sure your information is encrypted? 2 ways. 1. Use a secure network to access the internet. Don't assume that a public Wi-Fi network uses encryption. In fact, most don't. You can only be sure that a network uses effective encryption if it asks you to provide a WPA or WPA2 password. If you aren't sure, it's best to assume the network is not secure. The second way to protect your information is to send it through a secure website. A secure site will encrypt your information, even if the network doesn't. If the web address starts with HTTPS, then your information is encrypted before it's sent. The S stands for secure. Look for HTTPS on every page you visit, not just when you log in. If you use an unsecured Wi-Fi network to log into an unencrypted website, strangers using that network can hijack your account and steal your private documents, contacts, family photos, even your username and password. If that happens, an imposter could use your email or social networking account to pretend to be you and scam people you care about. Or a hacker could use your password from one website to try to log into a different account and access your personal or financial information. Here are some steps you can take to protect yourself when you use a public Wi-Fi hotspot. Only log in or enter personal information on secure sites that use encryption. Again, look for a web address that begins with HTTPS. Don't use the same username and password for different sites. It could give someone who gains access to one of your accounts access to many of your accounts. Never email financial information, including credit card, social security, and checking account numbers, even if the network and website are secure. Don't stay permanently signed in to accounts. When you've finished using a site, log out. The bottom line, secure Wi-Fi hotspots require a password. Secure websites start with HTTPS. Remember, it's easy to find trusted information about computer security. Just visit onguardonline.gov, the federal government site to help you be safe, secure, and responsible online.
Yet another data breach is making headlines, and this time, your information is exposed. What should you do? First, take a deep breath. Then, visit identitytheft.gov/data breach. You'll learn what specific steps to take. For example, if your social security number was exposed, you'll want to order your free credit reports and check for accounts you don't recognize. If a company affected by a data breach offers you free services, like credit monitoring or identity theft insurance, take advantage of it. You also might want to place a credit freeze or fraud alert. That'll make it harder for an identity thief to open new accounts in your name. If you find that someone is using your information to commit fraud, identitytheft.gov can help you report that too. Find out how to recover from a data breach at identitytheft.gov/data breach.
You're heading to work, everything's fine, no problems, except maybe you visited a coffee shop with free Wi-Fi or there was a data breach. These are things that are beyond our control sometimes, or decisions we make and places we go that can affect our identity. Now we're getting into the part of the video that discusses social engineering. People with strategy who are after your information. They're very personable people. They're good with understanding and they talk well and they're very convincing and very dangerous. They get your information by conversation. Social engineering requires information. Where they get the information, those who practice identity theft using social engineering or social networks. They will get enough information about you to be able to converse with you about your life, thus making you feel comfortable, and you will give up the information they require solely through conversation. Security is based on trust, and this quote is something one should consider at all times. Ask any security professional, and they will tell you that the weakest link in the security chain is the human who accepts a person or a scenario at face value. Social engineering is done by conversation. Social engineering is manipulating people, like I said, with conversation. They don't require any form of technical background to be very effective at getting your confidential information.
Sorry about that. I'm here to help.
You are?
Absolutely. Your bank account information needs to be updated to be sure that it's not compromised.
Compromised? How?
I need your password and I need it now.
My password. My bank has my password. Something here doesn't seem right.
What?
I can't quite put my finger on it.
Trust issues, huh? You know, once we figure this whole thing out, maybe we could grab a cup of coffee. If you give me your credit card number, I could even order something for us right now. Whoa.
Are you fishing for information?
This isn't what it looks like. Easy on the fin.
OnGuardOnline.gov has tips to help you guard against internet fraud, to secure your computer, and protect your personal information. To be more secure online, log on to OnGuardOnline.gov. Stop, think, click.
As you saw from the video, phishing can happen in person with someone in your office, coffee shop, or just any store. And also they can come in emails or texts, things like legitimate companies. And this is a way of extracting your confidential information. The baiting scenario in social engineering is them offering you something in the text or email, or a free movie or something like that to get you to respond.
Your friends and family are getting emails from you that you didn't send. Or maybe you want to check your email, but wait, you can't log in. Sound familiar? Chances are your email's been hacked. Don't panic. The situation can be fixed. Start by updating or installing security software from a company you can trust, and set it to update automatically. Hackers often hijack accounts by infecting your computer with malware. So it's important to scan your computer first. Delete anything it identifies as suspicious and restart your computer. Now you're working with a clean slate. Next, if you can get into your account, change your password. If you use similar passwords for other accounts, change them too. Passwords are the keys that open your accounts. They have to be memorable for you, but hard for someone else to guess. Some people use software that manages passwords to help create strong passwords and keep track of them. If you can't get into your account, check with your email provider to find out how to restore it. Once you've got your account back, check your account settings to make sure no one added any links to your email signature and that your emails aren't being forwarded to someone else. Finally, let your family and friends know your email was hacked. Think of it as spreading good computer karma, and they may have some work to do too. Want to know more about protecting your email from hack attacks? Visit onguardonline.gov.
As you just saw from the previous video, an email from a friend doesn't necessarily mean it's from that individual. If his system was hacked, they steal the contact list. And this can also happen to your social media accounts. If they get the password, they can send notes and things as though it were coming from you. This trap is one that social engineering has set up that would probably catch most of us. Someone calls you and asks you about a question or a request for help that you did not ask for could be very confusing. Because if you say, well, no, I didn't call, they're going to say, well, if it's about your phone, they're going to say, well, your phone may be doing this or your phone may be doing that. Are you sure you didn't call? And then you'll start to thinking, well, maybe you forgot or whatever. But if you did not request the help, please hang up, tell them thank you, goodbye, because they're seeking your personal, confidential information. Email and texts can be very dangerous because with social engineering, they will provide things to once again draw you into some type of conversation, whether it's on the phone or electronic. If you get an email that contains a link or some type of download or someone urgently asking you for help or to donate to some charitable organization that you may be aware of or other things, please check it out first. And if it's something to click or download, do not do that. You want to make sure that you check this contact. You want to make sure that this person is actually legit, even though it may seem to be or coming from someone you think you know. If that person's email was hacked, that is coming from a social engineering identity thief. Here are some other things to be on the lookout for as well. You have to be also careful on the types of messages that ask for help or explaining a problem, or a message that notifies you that you're a winner, or a message that may ask for help. These are things to draw you once again into conversation. You must verify these emails or contacts that they are actually from the person who sent them. So, and if someone sends you an email or text telling you that you are a winner and you have not registered for the contest, it's more than likely fraud. It's identity theft through social engineering. Dialogue is what they're looking for. This is the part I like. Do not become a victim. Through wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, we have now seen enough videos, found enough resources to know that if we become a victim to one of these things, that there is a way back. Please do not be discouraged. Share your information. Share ways that you have recovered and things you have done. Help your neighbors and your friends. Email hacking is rampant. Beware of downloads. Fake offers from foreign companies in foreign nations are exactly that, fake. Set your spam filters to high. Secure your computing devices. Make sure you know what you're doing with electronics because it can be an open door to an identity thief. Social engineering is very serious. So be mindful of who you're giving your information to. Do not become a victim. These points on here coincide with the ones on the previous slide. Slow down. Scammers want you to act fast without thinking. Research. Be suspicious of unsolicited messages. Delete any request from financial institutions requesting your password or any other kind of crazy request or scams or you won this or whatever. Reject requests for help or offers of help. Be sure that this is something you ask for. If you did not ask for the help, it's a social engineering technique to get your information. Don't let a link be in control of where you land on the internet. What I do a lot of times, if I'm searching on Google or any other site, I will find something that looks like I want to check it out. I will literally cut and paste the link or the URL or type the URL in my browser myself, because a lot of times when you click on links on a search engine, it would take you someplace you didn't intend to go. So that's one way to protect yourself from that.
When Thomas got his credit card statement, he wasn't worried. He had finally paid off his bill, so he knew he didn't owe any money. But when Thomas looked at his statement, he found thousands of dollars in charges he didn't recognize. Someone stole his identity. So Thomas got busy. He called his credit card company right away. Then he looked online to find out what else he needed to do. First, Thomas called one of the 3 credit reporting companies and asked them to put a fraud alert on his credit report. Then he called all 3 of the credit reporting companies to ask for a free copy of his credit report. He knew they have to give them to victims of identity theft. Finally, Thomas started his identity theft report. He called the Federal Trade Commission and talked with a counselor about what happened to him. The counselor put all of Thomas's information into a report called an identity theft affidavit. Then the counselor emailed Thomas a link so he could save and print his report. Thomas took his identity theft affidavit to the police station to file a police report. He told the police what happened. They wrote a report and gave him a copy of his official police report. Thomas's identity theft affidavit plus his police report together made up his identity theft report. He kept it in a safe place. He probably will need to use it again. Thomas had a lot more to do to stop the damage the identity thief had caused, but because he acted so fast in the beginning, it all turned out okay in the end.
IT has made our world very, very small. It's no longer separated by great travel times of hours or days or even months. We can be across the world in a matter of seconds, as well as can someone who means us harm. Be encouraged. If you have experienced identity theft or some type of fraud that has affected your identity, please seek out the helpful agencies like the Federal Trade Commission. The resources are there and they are free. Do not become discouraged. Continue to follow the process, and then a lot of times you can contact your attorney general in your state and seek their consumer help department. They are very effective. Very, very effective on helping you with issues in your particular state. Just realize that one day maybe the identity thief we will be dealing with may be on another planet. Who knows? But I just want anyone who listens to this video to understand that it is doable. It is fixable. You can get it done. And thank you so much for watching this video. I have a couple more slides for you, and I just have enjoyed your time watching my video. Here are some useful links I have included for various agencies in the federal government